Hello, folks. This is Brandon Chapman with you. It's July 1st, 2026. That's the TheoTrade video, and I'm subbing today for Don and Blake. But I want to kind of talk about today was kind of the setup in the S&P 500 that transpired today. As we look at the S&P right now, the SPX index, we're approaching the close here in about 30 minutes. We're just kind of hanging on. We're down slightly. We'd start to see an upside move early in the S&P. And if we go to a one-day 5-minute chart, you'll see as we hit this 75.20 level, we began to pull back. And we're starting to drift right now as we hit the last half hour. Now, if I translate this to the SPY, this is the product I look the most because it's traded, by the way, right? So earlier in the session, I was looking at the potential kind of gamma, the entering positive gamma at 747 through 750. I saw that was going to have a difficult time getting higher, and we made a phenomenal move off the lows here. So I decided to take a 746, 744. I don't know how this one's going to end, but I felt as we continued to go higher, the positive gamma was going to stifle price and presented an opportunity for it to pull back. And maybe this is the opening right now with about 30 plus minutes left before the session. I needed to get to about here, just below 745 for 100% gain. We'll see whether or not, maybe I should have rolled it up to be able to capture this move or not. But the point is right now, though, we're looking at 745, and I think we got a reasonable chance of getting there. Now, a new tool we're looking to launch shortly at TheoTrade is called the Vol Suite, and one of the tools we have is called Gamma Exposure. And as you look at the SPY, and this does transform a little bit as the price moves, and you'll see again, we're kind of in a very high gamma area, centered around 747, 748. We start to break 747. We start to build the downside negative gamma case. So like last Friday, we kind of saw that gamma void or that pocket materialize in the last minute of trading last Friday. Do we start to see something again like this, or we start to see a break of 747? We start to see that flip to negative gamma that really causes the market makers or dealers to sell into weakness. We're sitting right now around 747 on the SPY, which is, again, we flip from positive to negative gamma right about this current level. And we start to experience negative gamma. What happens? The dealer starts to sell into weakness versus buying into weakness and selling to strength. So my expectation is we start to break here. If we can, we might pin this 747 level. But if we do break this level, we may see volatility expand. Maybe not quite extreme as it was last Friday. We might see this really kind of dip quickly on a break of 747. And again, you can see right here, we flip from buying weakness into selling weakness. We accentuate the downside moves and the upside moves, but then we hit that wall again at about 747. And so as we kind of think about this, we're seeing how this plays out at the moment. This is what we're watching right now as we approach the end. And the reality is, if we back this out here, did we get started on our 250 celebration a little early, right? So we had a very nice week. The gamma structure was very favorable. The gamma exposure was very favorable this week, especially off of that opening gap on Monday. It really helped us get past a lot of headwinds in the gamma exposure market and started to create this upside without much tail risk as far as put options. We continue to push, that is, until today. So as we look at the current open interest for today's expiration, you can kind of see my order I'm trying to get filled in there, but the idea being is as we look at the open interest here, the 747 level between puts and calls, it's about 31,000 contracts. There is a potential to kind of pin there. 746, we got about 21,000. And then we start to crack open as the calls fall off and the puts expand. We start to open up or crack open the downside. The reality is it's probably a little far away to be able to get there. I'm hoping we get to 745 personally. But, look, we're just in this mode right now where we're just testing these levels like we do every day. And this tool is going to be a great opportunity for TheoTrade members to be able to kind of identify, right, levels and risk, et cetera, that's building in the market on an intraday basis for SPY and SPX. Again, I focus on SPY. That's the primary product I look at and trade. But this is a great tool for identifying those walls, the positive gamma environment that we're currently in that basically creates what? We sell strength, buy dips, but we're sitting right on the cusp of a flip from positive to negative gamma. And this is where we start to sell the dips. And we'll see how this next 30 minutes plays out. But there could be some volatility on really a break below 47 of any magnitude, really kind of maybe breaking closer to 746. You notice we stalled right in the middle there, right between the two strike prices at really essentially our flip level right in here. So we'll see how we progress. But right now it is pretty interesting. And again, we got about 30 minutes left for the market, and we could see some volatility. And that's exactly what I'm banking on or hoping for right now. All right, well, let's move on here. So we have a long weekend this weekend. It's super exciting. I mean, when have you ever been around a 250-year celebration? I'm sure people in Europe have experienced this, but not in America, right? I mean, we have not been a nation for more than 250 years, and we're just about to celebrate our independence on Friday, and we've had a really nice week to kind of celebrate it. And as we move in tomorrow, this is where we start to, again, look at what's the potential here, what's building for today, where are the walls, both on the call side and the put side, and are we going to go into the weekend at a whimper? And we're seeing right now the level I called out on Monday in the video that I did, 750 is still that significant level with heavy open interest relative to puts. We built significant positive gamma at 750. And you notice down here, 745. Again, we still got positive gamma there for the end of the week, but notice just below, we have 100,000 contracts traded today for tomorrow's expiration. We may see this gamma level flip from positive gamma to negative gamma with so much more puts being traded at that strike versus calls. And we might start to see, again, a 745, 750, both put wall and call wall setting up right now that creates either heavy positive gamma, which creates resistance, or all of a sudden, if we start to break below 745, do we start to see some negative gamma take hold and cause us to push lower? Again, there's the chance that the move here might have happened a bit early to be able to carry us into the weekend, but we know one thing. Tomorrow at 750, that level is going to be significant for the SPY, both to play into for weakness or a breakthrough for strength, and we'll see how things transpire. Early trading might be a bit heavier. Expect it to taper off as we go into the long weekend. And I wonder what your plans are. You know, I want to try to go to the Jazz Summer League here. I live in Utah. Would like to get to a game on Saturday. Going to do some hiking. I don't know. It's like I'm trying to plan it out. What do I want to do with the market being closed on Friday? And again, just want to experience all that's going on in our country. And again, there's exciting things. There's obviously things that make you nervous, but one thing we should all be able to celebrate is our independence and again, we know where our freedoms derive from. And we all need to celebrate that. Now, as we think about celebration, is there anything more shiny than gold? I mean, Newmont mining today, again, we see the pop right here. We're kind of fading. I keep wondering, well, when is gold going to start to make a move, right? When is gold going to start to run? We saw last week trades in GLD, option trades, USAS, BTG. We saw a big trade yesterday in GDX. And today we're getting another trade in Newmont mining. Yes, we're fading as the dollar's likely kind of picking up a bit of strength. Gold is outperforming up 1%, but we still get that same kind of shooting star formation, long upper shadow, smallish body at the lower end of the range. And so again, we're still in this indecision phase. I mean, I was debating last Friday. I mean, do I want to put something on gold? I mean, we had some signs last week and I was like, you know what? We just got to see something. And then you get the rumors out there of gold revaluation. I'm like, what does gold revaluation have anything to do with anything, right? Do we say, okay, we're going to say gold's worth $4,000? Well, the reality is we got a lot of stuff we got to do the gold in Fort Knox anyway. It's probably not the quality that we could really declare and exchange. But what would revaluing the gold actually do for us? Virtually nothing, unless you're planning on using gold as a bond, right? If we're trying to raise debt, going 50, 100-year bonds, in that case, yeah, we probably do have to revalue gold at $4,000. So again, a lot of rumors around that, but it's not really moving gold right now. And a revaluation doesn't suddenly make gold more valuable or suddenly the dollar less valuable, because let's be honest, gold goes up as the dollar goes down. And as we think about, again, we're looking for signs. I'm going to flip us here to the Block Hunter. This is a proprietary tool that I created to help identify significant option activity every day. And there's nothing out there that does it with this level of ease. And I'm just going to, as you go through here, we'll just look for Newmont Mining right there. Newmont, we triggered alert at 5,000 contracts. There's no short interest in it. But if we click on the location, we can see the time and sales for today. And if it's 100 plus, after we get our trigger, it's going to show you whether it's bought or sold. It was bought today. 4,980 contracts just below the ask price. These were 5,000 contracts that were bought today at a 99 strike price for July's expiration and a 38 delta. So this is something that's not way out of the money. And if we go to Newmont here, again, that 99 strike price is right here. It gives you a target. It gives you a time frame for 3 weeks. Is that a massive move? No. But you don't need massive moves to make a decent profit. In this case, I mean, if we're to go out to that same July 17 expiration, you can see the interest building there at 99. Could you pick up a 96, 98 spread? We'll just go 3 strike wide vertical. Cost you about, that's right, it's $1.50. You got to spread out one other 50 cent here. That costs you about 80 cents. All right, well, let's move it up a strike. Let's go to 97 and let's go to 99. Again, that's our target. How much that cost you? About 56 cents. And folks, if we get to 98, you're probably out of this trade for about a 70% gain with $56 of risk per contract. You don't need a big move. All you need is the next 2 weeks for gold to get a little move here to about 99, 98, 99 bucks, right about there. That's it. So as you think about this stuff, again, we don't need big moves when we talk about options. The other one I want to take a look at is Coke. Now, Coke's experiencing some resistance up here. Earlier in the week, we had a big trade in Pepsi I outlined. Pepsi was right about there. We dipped yesterday. Now we're bouncing back up today ahead of the earnings, up nearly 3.7%. Looking at this thing getting back to 147. But let's look at today's activity in Coke. I'm more of a Coke man than the Pepsi man anyway, right? In a Coke versus Pepsi challenge, I'm going to go Coke 100% of the time. I can appreciate a cherry Pepsi every now and again. I'll do cherry Pepsi over cherry Coke, but Coke itself is the best soft drink out there, period. Now, maybe the ginger ale, Canada Dry ginger ale with a hint of cherry, that was pretty good. 0 sugar. All right. Okay, fine. But if we're talking about a sugared soda, I'm Coke all the way. And if we look here, we can see again, 5,000 contracts against 1,000. We've got at least 4,000 contracts in here as a block trade at both the 83 strike price and the 82. You'll see 4,952 contracts at the 83 strike price, both for July 10th, the 82 strike price, again, 100 plus. You're seeing 4,952 contracts traded both at the ask at the exact same time. Now, this might be a spread. Either way, it's either a long call vertical spread, buying the 82, selling the 83, or they bought two separately at the exact same time. Pick whatever you choose. The reality is we have some pressure building, and there's a draw on Coke to about $82 right now based on the interest that's developing. And as we look at this, again, 82 is right about there. Now, we also know what? It's just kind of a squeeze too. We break 82. This creates additional upside pressure. $83, that's a reasonable target. And as we think about Coke, a $2 move, 2.5% on Coke, that's not bad. That's tradable. Using options and leverage, it becomes even more potentially bigger. And we still have the potential this thing breaks out and heads higher. We're looking right now at something that might create a support bounce in the next couple of days, not unlike we're seeing in Pepsi today, that's up 3.7% while Coke waits. And by the way, there's a bullish trade Coke yesterday as well, which we can also see, by the way. Just go back to the 30th here. We got Coke plugged in, 15,000, 30,000 contracts for the July 17 83s. And so again, we're seeing the case being built for this July 17 expiration. You'll see 14,000 contracts traded yesterday, bought, for example, near the ask for that same 83 strike price we're seeing materialize today. That's big time activity in Coke. And I like the fact that we're celebrating Coke right now in the options market. Maybe not in the stock market. We're down 0.25%. But I like the fact we're kind of celebrating in the options market. Institutions are buying calls ahead of the 4th of July. I don't know if people are going to get a bunch of Coke and out there swinging. But I have to believe there are parties somewhere. They're going to have Coke in a can, Coke in a taller can, or Coke in a cup with crushed ice. That's my perfect scenario, is Coke with good crushed ice in a nice foam cup, no lid. I want the full experience. I want the ice. I want the Coke. I want it together. Now, it's not all bullish right now, right? So we go back here to the console. We'll flip this back to today. And what you'll notice is that we'll go block trades and X out Coke. But notice right here, not EW, sorry, where are we going here? IWM, 19,000 scaling it to 49,000. Folks, there's nothing out there that does it this easily, right? You're not going to find these this quickly. This is 19 years of experience being built into this. And you see all of this trade right here, this buying right here of really about 40,000 contracts, 49 total today. There are puts being traded in IWM. It's not all bullish. There are those that are beginning to hedge their downside risks. And as we look right now, we're kind of fading from the high in IWM. And you look down here at the put to call ratio and you'll see something. When you think about gamma exposure, when you see what puts being bought, right, in great numbers, puts outnumbering calls, you're starting to build that case to the downside. All it takes is just a little bit of break, and all of a sudden that negative gamma picks up, dealers sell into weakness. And notice what else we have here. We have a rising top, right? We have a rising wedge, which is a topping pattern. If we break the expectations, the retest our lows at 270, which is basically what? The first low after the first high of the ascending triangle formation. Rising wedge formation, 270 target price. Now, as we look at the trade, again, we have potential downside. You can wait for the break. Otherwise, you hop on early. But right now, the case for volatility rising is certainly building. And it's not just about the VIX being really low right now, or the fact that the average S&P 500 stock, VIXEQ, is trading at 47%, 30% higher, which is telling us dispersion right now is absolutely through the roof. Yesterday, we ran to 46 before backing off. The implied volatility for the constituents of the S&P 500 is significantly higher than the S&P 500 implied volatility as represented by the VIX. And so it's not just about that, but also the fact is the seasonal trend for the market in July, historically, and technology stocks, meaning the Qs, is not good, especially in a midterm year. So to see IWM forming a rising wedge, different indicators diverging here, it makes a ton of sense that we might get some degree of breakdown. All you need is 290, 280. You can set up a trade to get significant gains. Today, I walked through a hedge called the Atomic Hedge that I did for the SPY. For those who have large equity positions, I did it right there, anticipating a 5 to 10% correction. We got close to 5% there. This regime is not necessarily done, and we might see as we approach tomorrow, we get the long weekend, trading picks up next week. We might start to see the weakness in the market start to pick up as well. Well, folks, that's all I got for you today. We'll catch you back on Monday's video. Again, I hope you have a great celebration of 250. I hope you experience some water. I hope you experience some Coke with crushed ice in a foam cup. And I hope you recognize the freedoms that we enjoy in America is something we've never experienced in the history of humankind. The amount of ability to move and buy and trade and to live anywhere in the world. This has never existed in the history of humanity at the scale we see today. It's a time to celebrate what that declaration provided, a tremendous expansion in wealth globally. And I remember reading a Kiplinger magazine. This was about 10 plus years ago. I was on a plane, and they're talking about, they track the wealth of society over the history of humanity. And they found there was no appreciable increase in wealth in humanity throughout history until one point. It was about 1820. This sparked a massive increase in wealth. And again, all this comes back to markets, freedom, individuality, everything that the Declaration of Independence celebrates and lets us know that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Well, folks, I'll catch you in the video next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you.